Howdy y'all, this is Redwolf. Y'all probably figured out by now I've been having a little bit of trouble with my filming schedule because of all the bad weather we've been having. I was talking with my buddy Hutch over at the Backyardsman, and he said, well, if you're having that much trouble, why don't you do a video on Fatwood and all the fire making you've been doing? Because, you know, if your camp's 12 foot underwater, how are you surviving? And I said, well, I don't know about that. Well, that was yesterday, and here I am. I'm going to show y'all a little bit about Fatwood and some of the stuff that we deal with here. And I'm going to throw out a challenge to my buddy over at the Backyardsman. Do a Fatwood video. You know more about it than I do. So, that long story short, let's talk about Fatwood. So Fatwood is the pine pitch resinous heart of pine tree. This is really settles in after the tree starts dying. All the sap collects and all the terpenes sort of coalesce. There is going to be how I'm going to phrase it. Sometimes you can find these by knocking limbs off trees, low branches, even while the tree is still alive. Mostly I find them in dead trees. You see these little weird shriveled up stumps in the ground and stuff like that. Go check it. If it smells like, ever smell lamp oil, kerosene, diesel? It's got that kind of a smell, and has a really waxy consistency when cut. Let's see if I can get this on camera. But it's got a really weird, feeling when cut. It's almost like you're shaving a crayon. And I said, you just get that smell, and the stronger the smell, the more of the terpenes, the oils, the flammable oil it has in it, or compound, I suppose is more technical. And it'll just catch right up. I'll show you all a little bit on camera. But what I was originally looking for when I found this, there was a lot of this rot up here. Move the camera a little bit closer. Alright, so there was a lot of this rot right here. I found a dead log on the ground. I'll show you in a minute. And I was up here just knocking the rot off because I was looking for a practice post. I hadn't had anything that I've been told was okay to smack on out here in a little bit. And more stuff I cut off of it, you know, more these big panels fell off. The more you can hear you can probably hear the sound difference on there. And I knocked a big chunk off the other day. It looked like this. You can see that's pretty decrepit looking, but it fell off the other side, and it's got this real rich color to it, and you can smell it, and it probably, you can see right there, it makes real easy indentations. You can scrape this stuff. Really nifty. And I've just been getting up here and knocking chunks out every time you get on camera, right? And see, I can knock a chunk out and smell it. And this, I'll show you a little bit of color gradient here. So this is an okay piece, and a lot of the modern hybrid pines, this is going to be somewhere what you get. But here's a better piece. You can see these darker colors compared to it. This is what you're looking for out here in our humidity. I'd have to process this down and find it dry to do something. This has enough of this has enough in it, that waxy texture, that it doesn't absorb the water as well. And I can just take shavings off of it, and my ferro rod will light it. And my standard of how something is how good something is tender, is how well will a ferro rod spark it. You can take some indifferent damp stuff if you got a good set of matches or a Bic lighter or something and get that to light. But ferro rods are pretty good pretty good test for me. Pretty good test of where your skills are at. But as you can see, I've got, if I want to keep processing this down, I've got all this. Here's a good, well, see that. Now here's a pretty good chunk. And like I said, it gets waxy. You can, I mean, it's soft enough. I can shave it with my tomahawk in midair. The waxier it is, the better. And those are all good signs of what you're looking for. These little pieces like this are what you can light with your ferro rod. So I'm going to do a quick spark test over here, and I want to show y'all what the log looked like. So when I was walking through, this is what first drove my eye. I came in here and I started kicking around thinking like maybe I'll find some grubs or something. And even, a little quick thing for you right here. Even, even this bit right here has bits in here that have a little bit of smell to them. Let me show you versus our okay and our better piece. You can see that this still has some in it, and I could probably get this to go, particularly if it wasn't on the ground wet, I could probably get this to go with a lighter or a storm match or something, but I'm gonna have to do a lot of processing and get lucky with it, and that led me to looking around for the rest of it, which led me to this big pile, which led me to my big stump piece. You can see how much I've got left. I can process it, and the closer to the ground we get, as long as all this hadn't rotted out, the more terpenes and stuff are going to settle, the more flammable this section is going to be than this piece way up here that I'm pulling chunks out of. But I'm going to move back over here to my log, and we'll process a little bit of this for you. Alright. Okay, so I think I got everything repositioned. Because of where I live, I don't play around with little ferro rods. One I'm going to be using today is a bayite, I believe is how you pronounce it. It's a 6-inch by 1/2 inch piece with some really nice strikers. You're going to be getting a review on these sometime soon. Be using those, and I also brought a pack of just basic old kitchen matches for a comparison. And while I have bigger, badder, better stuff, we don't need the latest, greatest technology for processing this down. You can see that pretty clearly. So I'm just going to take this little bit right here and just make these real tiny pile. Make several shavings around this size. And I'm not looking for longevity right at the moment. I just want to see my spark catch, so I can show y'all what I'm talking about. And if you don't have a stump or something, throw your hat on the ground, make you a quick, on a place like here, a lot of times I'll take palmettos, and I'll make a quick, like, kind of a basket, is a kind of a basket out of the leaves, and use that to catch these. You can lay out your poncho, lay out a blanket, just anything that'll catch. And the more of this stuff you can get out here is always the better. And you can also, it feels sticky. I can feel the pine tar getting out and getting all over my fingers. And you can take this stuff and boil it down to make pine pitch, which is your primitive glue. It's a major component in the original epoxy, which is cutler's resin. Do this like this. I got a little bit more control and it's a little bit faster. Now, I haven't spark tested this specific piece yet, so this is going to be a little bit of me just playing around on camera. And I'm just picking an edge out here that I think I can scrape the right length off of, and just pushing it out. Just making of this motion with it. It's super safe, it's super easy, and with it even I can make something that resembles a feather stick. Okay. So I know I'll get that with my matches. Should be able to take care of that with my ferro rod. Just an indifferent little pile of sparks right here. Already had a spark right there. If I had a proper bird's nest to catch all this in, it'd probably have fire right now. Get that charred up. I'm going to push this over in this corner so I got something to push against. You can probably still see that over there. See, there was a fire. See? Just like that. Let them scatter out a little bit too far. But that's the power right there of Fatwood. It's pretty nifty, and I could throw those big chunks in there. And now this is going to burn out pretty quick, but don't take much. Don't take much, and that's why I like these bayites. They throw a spark. The striker on them is excellent in combo with the rod. It makes up for some occasional lack of technique or ideal tinder material. I'm just gonna scrape that off down here. There's a little bit of water down there. Alright, so these just these new kitchen matches and this new green variety, they don't strike and they don't want to burn worth a flip. We had some wind come in through here, so I had to reposition things just a little bit. Try and keep my matches alive. They're just the worst matches. Been making one strike fires for years. Now I get a decent tinder source. And I just don't want to go. Alright, but when your matches work, this is what it's supposed to do. I think I got that good in camera. Yeah. That's just a little bit of shavings. You know, you get this in a bird's nest, or like what I've been using, you know, some damp leaves that aren't soaked but got enough moisture they don't want to really light with a ferro rod. You get this in there and everything tightens up. It normally makes enough heat to dry everything out and all that. But I reckon that's going to be my little quick presentation on Fatwood. I hope y'all like it, and got any questions or anything you want to see, let me know down in the comments. Till next time, this is Redwolf signing off. Y'all keep up the good fight.